Awesome. Welcome to the panel. Super excited. I'm a content creator. I've been a creator for more than a decade now, and I'm around a bunch of content creators. I think so. My first question has to be around content creators. I think I want to ask Akash, and of course, please chime in. I want to understand there's so many comedy content creators today in the market. What is the fundamental difference between a comedian and a person who's funny online?
See, in my opinion, all comedians can be content creators, but all content creators can't be comedians. Because, no, I'm not dissing on them. It's a fact. So, नहीं नहीं देखो ऐसा होता है स्टैंड अप में एक बहुत मेजर फैक्टर होता है जो कॉमेडी कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स के साथ नहीं होता है कि वी आर ऑलवेज परफॉर्मिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ अ लाइव ऑडियंस दैट इज आवर प्राइमरी वर्क like people call us YouTubers. We are not YouTubers because मोस्ट ऑफ द कॉमेडियंस एक साल में हम 3 या 4 स्टैंड अप वीडियोज़ रिलीज़ करते हैं। तो जो बाकी टाइम होता है वी आर एक्चुअली टूरिंग एंड वी आर परफॉर्मिंग द शो। कॉमेडी कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स वो उनको एक थॉट आता है, फिर वो एक आइडिया सोचते हैं, उसका वीडियो बनाते हैं, वो रिलीज़ करते हैं और वो चीज़ खत्म हो जाती है। हमारा काम उल्टा है, हम लोग पहले कुछ क्रिएट करते हैं, उसके साथ फिर एक टूर करते हैं, परफॉर्म करते हैं। जब वो रेडी हो जाता है पूरा परफॉर्मेंस के बाद, देन वी रिकॉर्ड द वीडियो, देन वी रिलीज़ इट ऑनलाइन एंड ऑल द कंटेंट स्टैंड अप वीडियोज़ दैट यू सी ऑनलाइन वो फिर आप अगर हमारे लाइव शो पे आओगे यू नॉट सी अस परफॉर्मिंग दैट सिमिलर सेट। लाइक मेरा सरोजिनी नगर वाला जो मैंने रिलीज़ कर दिया था, तो वो मैं परफॉर्म नहीं करता हूँ, बट वो लोग आके बोलते हैं, "वही सुना दो।" व्हिच डज़न्ट हैपन इन कॉमेडी बिकॉज़ इन कॉमेडी द गोल इज़ कि वन्स यू हैव सीन आवर कंटेंट एंड देन यू बाय अ टिकट टू वॉच आवर शो, सो यू विल कम टू द शो तो हम आपको एकदम नया शो परफॉर्म करके दिखाएँगे, सो यू डोंट नो कि हम क्या करने वाले हैं।
Interesting.
एंड आई थिंक देयर इज़ ऑल्सो अ फैक्टर दैट जो कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स होते हैं, जो कॉमेडी यूनिवर्स में होते हैं, it's very rare that they get to interact with their fans because they are always creating things online. हमारा हफ्ते में अगर 3 शो है तो 3 दिन हमें लोग देख ले रहे हैं कुछ परफॉर्म करते हुए। इसलिए उनके आई थिंक वो जो फैन फेस्ट और ये सब होता है तो वहाँ पे बहुत लोग बाउल रहता है, अरे इनको देखने को मिल गया फाइनली।
But I would love to, ask Warren and Kenny this, which is, as a comedian now, is there a lot of pressure to create content and gain following online? Do you feel competition at all? Because a lot of brands and money also come online. So, is there any kind of pressure, or vice versa? If you want to be a comedian, do you recommend to your comedians, hey, create content online and create distribution there?
I'm really glad you asked Akash the question first. So I mean, I think the reality of it is with creators creating distribution online, whether you're a content creator or it could be a sports personality, a comedian, or just somebody in the pandemic who put out stuff and blew up for whatever reason. The brand business has certainly grown massively since the pandemic. I would say the investment from brands is insane over the last 3 years. So it is an interesting position for a stand-up comic to be in terms of their live business and then also maintaining their personal brand in terms of interaction with brands. Um, so yeah, it's something I would personally encourage, of course. Having said that, I think the at least to pick up on what Akash has said as well, this is just so long as you're a stand-up comedian first. So that should still be the bedrock of why you do this as a career, because I think everything sort of is birthed out of the comedy club. I think when your source of income is purely based on that, if it affects the live act, I think your career trajectory in terms of being a 20 or 30-year career could be impacted in some way.
The pros and cons to both. I back in the day before COVID, when I used to put like a substantial amount of energy into my content, a lot of the comedians were like, "What's the point of this? Comedian, focus on that." I was like, I'm trying to do both. And when COVID hit, it benefited me because when the live revenue shut off, because I had a kind of history of content creation, the brands came, and then I could make money at sitting at home. But recently, I was at a similar kind of event, and some guy came and asked me, "How do you ensure longevity in the content creation process?" Now, I think when you say stand-up comedy, you guys are not realizing you're talking about two professions at the same time. A stand-up comedian that if I'm guessing all of you watch stand-up comedy, right? And how many of you have gone for live show? Okay, so like this entire bunch hasn't. So that's usually the ratio we've noticed, like 30% has come for a show and the rest have not. But they call it, I've seen stand-up. You've seen a stand-up comedian hire a video team, edit that video, upload it with thumbnails and push it. So you've actually seen a stand-up comedian is also a content creator, and that's the stand-up you've seen. So I told him, like, you wouldn't ask Neeraj Chopra, how do you ensure longevity in your brand career? He focused on being the best athlete he can, and he succeeded in his career. And as a byproduct, brands came to him. So he's not sitting every day wondering, like, how do I get more brand deals? He's focusing on his career. So that's why when people see him put a video, I said, dude, I did a world tour for 2.5 years. I didn't see my family. But they're like, videos not come, bro. So I'm like, first of all, your algorithm has cut me off, which is sad. Your favorite creator has put a video yesterday only, but you've not gone to their channel. That's a different discussion. But yeah, it's we focus on our main career, which is stand-up. And I think I'm speaking for Akash and I. We use it mainly as a distribution channel. That
So
yeah.
fundamentally, you need to focus on your main career, but if you have
For
content,
us,
it's a good sort of pipeline for more income and money, and especially when
it's the only distribution.
it's the only distribution that you have. Also to sell tickets, right? I'm guessing most of the ticket sales would come from your social platforms.
No, yeah, but the ticket sales will be mostly from the stand-up video content and not the other funny content जो हम बना रहे हैं. So if they like the stand-up bit, then only they'll come to watch stand-up. अगर मैं sketch बना रहा हूँ या मैं कोई और चीज़ कॉमेडी जॉनर में बना रहा हूँ, वो देख के उनका ये मन नहीं रहेगा कि यार हम टिकट खरीद के इसे शो पे जाएं. करेगा, बट वो रेशो बहुत कम होगी.
Got it. जैसे इंडस्ट्रीज में होता है ना कि अच्छा बाप ने फैक्ट्री चलाई तो बेटा फैक्ट्री चला रहा है, एक्टर बाप है तो बेटा भी एक्टर है, तो स्टैंड अप में भी होता है कि ऐसा वुड यू इफ यू हैव किड्स नाउ would you
I didn't see anybody asking.
would you recommend them to be stand up comics? Is that a fascination or
It is an amazing question. Great question. But it's beautiful because that shows how tough stand-up is. If I have a daughter now. If our guys I'm waiting. If our kids do stand-up and they're not funny, they won't have a career. It's dead in the track. If you're not funny as a stand-up comedian in person, you're not gonna have a career. So there's no nepotism at all. Yeah, it's sad.
And
actually.
unfortunately, there is zero benefit to your children.
Zero benefit.
You're really successful.
Like, you don't know, Warren also was a stand-up comedian. Yeah,
He was yeah.
started and then he realized. So very soon he realized. He's
Akash sat me down, explained it twice.
guys, it's so easy to tell between Akash and Warren who's the manager, right?
It's all because Warren gets me so many deals that, I can afford this.
No, do you want to add something?
No, I mean, I was going to say, because they won't say it, it's the most meritocratic profession. There isn't anything, even if you really like a stand-up comic, you watch a lot of their stuff. If you go to a live show and then not having, you're not going to grant them the kind of grace you would, like, let's say a musician whose music you've heard. So if it's not hitting a certain level, so at some level it's a pretty, even the words you use when you do well in comedy, like killing or bombing, it's pretty violent because the vibe is very like I'm surviving on stage a little bit.
When we came on stage and you were like, "Itna thanda kyun hai?" This is our everyday. We go, and luckily now we are lucky. We have an audience that's come to see us. For 10 years, we were just cold room. Everybody's like this, and you have to work them up to make them laugh. Not just make them interested. You have to make them laugh. So it's
And this is what I say about stand-up. Ki stand-up mein you only need one reaction from the audience. That is a laugh. मैं यहाँ अगर डांस करूँ या मैं प्ले करूँ या मैं गिटार बजाऊँ, ये लोग रिएक्ट ना करें, मैं बजा के चला जाऊँगा. ठीक है, बट आई कांट परफॉर्म इफ पीपल आर नॉट रिएक्टिंग एंड आई एम डूइंग तो फुद्दू लगते हैं हम स्टेज पे फिर बहुत. लाइक डांसर अपना कर आके वो फोर्थ वॉल होता है, हमारे फोर्थ वॉल नहीं होता स्टैंड अप में. लाइक वी आर डायरेक्टली टॉकिंग टू द audience.
And Akash was saying earlier, that if you see a video of Akash and then you go see him live, it's not the same joke. Which is also why I'm so jealous of musicians, that when you have a famous song, audience wants that same song again. And when you play a new song, they get annoyed. It's the complete opposite for comedians. Unfortunately, a joke is funny because it's a surprise. You don't see where it's going. once you hear the joke, it's not funny anymore. So if you go to an audience and you do all your greatest hits, they're like, what is going on?
एंड सिंगर्स एक दूसरे के गाने भी गा लेते हैं, लाइक वो कवर्स गा लेंगे, वो पुराने सिंगर के गाने गा लेंगे।
Yeah, dude.
हम नहीं कर सकते हो कि once Kenny said,
It's not fair, dude.
But is it true that in your shows, since it, you're supposed to make somebody laugh, so सारे stressed लोग ही आते हैं कि मतलब आज तो मेरा stress relieve होना चाहिए यहाँ पे. So that's why the audience starts with a dud mood and then you have to pick that mood up.
No, to be fair, the only supporter of comedy in our country is the audience. It's the only support, the only people who pay for tickets, who go through traffic, who come to these horrible auditoriums. Not this, you're in Delhi, you have nice infrastructure, but most auditoriums in India don't have parking, toilets, snacks, nothing. It's only you guys who support comedy. These are the nicest people. But whenever we say Thanda, it's like, obviously you 2 hours in traffic, AC kaam nahi kar raha hai, you've had a long day. You have to convert them. So that's not their fault. That's just how life is. Yeah.
Interesting. You spoke about bombing on stage. I wanna sort of go to the past of younger Akash, younger Kenny, younger Warren. I have a feeling
I
Warren
still bomb, dude. That's why I do that.
मुझे बताओ कि वो स्टोरी क्या थी जब आप स्टेज पे गए and you bombed. How did you feel? I'm sure it's a feeling that maybe none of us know of. So, oh wow, this is Kenny from
Canvas Laugh Factory. This is
wow.
This
Is this your first performance?
one of the first. Yeah.
this is when it was not even Canvas Laugh Club, it was Canvas Laugh
Canvas Laugh Factory, you're right.
फैक्ट्री भी था उसका नाम पहले।
पता नहीं क्या
आप लोग परफॉर्म करते थे जब हमें स्पॉट्स नहीं मिलते थे।
ये मेरा spot ही है, I think. Yeah, this is one of my first. Yes, this is I think 17 or 18.
Did people laugh?
Oh, to be fair, I did theater before that, so I didn't come like fresh to stage. So I was not like completely awkward. I knew how to walk around the stage. I knew how to modulate my voice. So I was in a band before, so kind of knew. So that confidence was always there. Bombing still happens when you go to an audience and they don't know you're gonna do comedy, or they don't like your style.
Can you tell a story of
There's this organization called the Rotary Club, and it's usually much older people. And a gig is a gig. Wow, what is lovely
प्रेजेंट डे फोटो।
this looks more like professional and
Yeah, this is when my career was going fine. They were paid tickets to watch me.
दिस इज सम स्पेशल शूटिंग ना।
हाँ, पता नहीं, I guess so. It's all amnesia हो गया. And it was around, everyone was minimum 60 years old. And I did the show just,
when was it and which city was it?
this was in, I think Bangalore. And this happened 6 years ago. And suddenly they'll show me a picture of me in my underwear. So I was just checking what's being put behind. Because I didn't see any of these images. So, and I just bombing. I do my best jokes. And it's also a corporate environment. It's not a public show. It's a Rotary Club. They've invited me to entertain their members. They're just staring at me. And it's even worse when they're paying attention. Right? When they're not paying attention, it's not my fault. Because when I started off in Bangalore, they used to screen cricket match and used to perform. And nobody paid attention. And then I take my guitar out, which is towards the end of my corporate set, and I do some songs, and they start like vibing to it. And I finish the show. When I come out of this thing, and I'm just devastated. Because they paid you money, you want to do a good job. And I come out, this old lady comes to me, she's like, you should really consider a career in singing. Which is the most hurtful compliment I've ever got. Now,
What about you?
I bombed yesterday night. I went to an open mic and I was
Akash doesn't bomb.
see 2015. This is my first ever time on stage.
You're doing a job then, right?
Yeah, I was working in KPMG. बस सड़क के बाहर मेरा ऑफिस था, टावर 10C मेरा। और ये मैं अरे रुक जाओ भाई, थोड़ा मेमोरीज में पीछे जाओ। हाँ, तो ये मैं ऑफिस से सीधा अपने फॉर्मल्स में पहुंच गया था वहाँ पे। और अक्षरा थिएटर में ओपन माइक हो रहा था एंड वी हैड टू पे लाइक 200-250 रुपीज़ टू गेट अ स्पॉट। सो वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स वाज सपोज टू परफॉर्म, तो उसने बैक आउट किया और वहीं सर जो हैं, जो आजकल फेमस हैं, मम्मी कैसी हैं वाले, तो मईप जी हमारे बहुत सीनियर हैं, वो बहुत पहले से कॉमेडी करते थे, तो वो एक ओपन माइक यहाँ पे ऑर्गेनाइज करते थे अपनी कंपनी के थ्रू। तो फिर मैं आई थिंक ये फर्स्ट टाइम है मेरा स्टैंड अप करते स्टेज पे, और मैं इतना नर्वस था कि मैंने माइक को माइक स्टैंड से हटाया भी नहीं था। तो जो ये मुझे बोलते हैं ना सब एक्ट आउट कॉमिक, कि मैं बहुत बॉडी यूज़ करता हूँ, उस टाइम मेरे में इतनी हिम्मत नहीं थी कि मैं वो माइक लगा तो मैं ऐसे ही खड़े होके, और मेरे हाथ में एक नोटबुक भी है, शायद एक छोटा सा नोट पैड है, उसमें मेरे 4 जोक्स लिखे हुए थे, और उसमें से एक पे लाफ आया था और बाकी नहीं चले थे। बट वो फर्स्ट टाइम आई एक्सपीरियंस कि आप कुछ सुनाते हो और उधर से लाफ आता है तो वो कैसा फील होता है। मैंने इससे पहले इम्प्रोव किया होता और थिएटर किया होता, तो मुझे लाफ का पता था। इम्प्रोव कॉमेडी में यू क्रिएट कॉमेडी ऑन द स्पॉट, गेम्स होते हैं, ऑडियंस से लेके आप खेलते हो। बट ये पहली बार था कि आई हैड रिटन समथिंग, आई हैड थॉट ऑफ समथिंग माई सेल्फ, और फिर मैंने वो परफॉर्म किया तो उस पर कैसे लाफ है। सो दिस 2014।
Wow.
yes.
And now can we have the... Oh
Yes.
wow, this is you filling up the entire auditorium.
Yeah, Akash is the
ये तो...
yeah.
It's a stadium?
No, this is a Comic Con. This is Comic Con Festival, Delhi. Yeah.
You haven't aged a day, Akash.
Yeah, man. This was last 2 years back.
It's more de-aging. So he's came from formals to now, like he's becoming more casual as... So more money and formalness is...
नहीं, फॉर्मल तो यार मैं ऑफिस से आया होता ना, और मैं इतना चलाक था, मैंने ऑफिस की कैब से ही मैंने ओपन माइक का कन्वीनियंस पहुंचा लिया था। हाँ, रीइंबर्समेंट नहीं, मैंने उस दिन वो वाली कैब बुक कराई जो अक्षरा थिएटर के पास से निकलती थी। हाँ, तो मैं
What's your story?
See, I mean, I would do it as a hobby. Mostly, I was working a finance.
Are you saying this because you bombed initially?
Of course, that's why I'm saying it. But no, genuinely, and these guys are living the dream. So there's nothing like making a huge auditorium of people laugh. It's like a drug. And yeah, when it goes well, at least in my case, when people have heard my set, they've said you'd be a great manager. So I
You became a great
I've seen Warren. He's very good. I think it's just that his drive for business is so much more, and yeah, his partnership with Upmani is legendary. Like, I mean, what do you see?
Is he one of those cool kids who studies before the exam, tops it, and then read,
are you asking about Abhishek?
about
Oh, myself. Oh. You both have a consultancy background, so yeah, that's not great for humor. It worked out for him, but yeah.
Amazing. But now you're managing so many people.
Yeah.
I think let's start the next question. It's a great segue because a big part of the career is having these specials. I mean, how many of you have seen specials of different comics? Okay, most of the people have seen stand-up comics. Okay, different specials that you guys release. I'm very intrigued. What is the process, right? Like we see just this one video, but I'm sure there's a lot that goes behind. So I want to first understand from a business point of view, what is the process, and then from maybe a comedic point of view, how does this go about? How much time is taken? Is there a money investment? So today, if any one of them, I'm guessing there's somebody in the audience who wants to become a comic. How do they go about this process?
Do you want to do the creative side first or the business side first?
Whatever you guys prefer.
Usually the hard work is done by these guys, which is they put an act together. So the same show you guys would have paid to go watch live is done maybe 200 times, 300 times, more than that. If you're a comic of the company on stage, currently you tour everywhere. So the plan is to basically sell tickets and have anybody who could be a fan watch you live. That's the real primary purpose. So whether it's Berlin or Bandra or wherever else in the world. Once the show is ready, as in it's been done, and the artist is happy with touring it everywhere, then they shoot it. I think they'll be in a better position to tell you the process of picking a director, how that goes. Where I get involved is usually just having a chat with an Amazon or a Netflix, or now Geo and Hotstar have merged, and trying to find the best home in terms of it commercially, in terms of where the largest number of people are potentially for that specific product.
Yeah.
So it's a battle between figuring out what makes commercial sense and at the same time is something that has the most eyeballs and longevity. So yeah.
Just a quick follow-up question. Today, YouTube has insane audience. I'm sure your first special you would have seen on YouTube. Can I have a yes or a no? Yes, most of them have seen their first special on YouTube, and there's AdSense. You get revenue directly from YouTube. So how do you take that decision that should I go with a YouTube like platform which is open source and anyone can watch, or go with like a more, OTT platform, right? Could be a Netflix, Prime. How do you take that decision?
So, in my opinion, Akash is an interesting case study because when I met Akash, Akash was very viral on YouTube. But it was after winning Comicstan, and I think he'd be a better person to expand on this. But his ticket sales went to playing big theaters and arenas. So the OTT at the time, and I think that was also the year where Amazon themselves pushed it a lot. Like I remember packages coming with all their faces on it and stuff. So it was a big investment that year, for example. So that was his journey. Whereas somebody like Upmanyu, for example, I have this article printed in my office, turned down an obscene amount. I have way more gray hair than you guys can see. Turned down a
What
huge
was the
amount.
amount?
It was close to $1 million US around the time of the pandemic. And our conversation about him turning it down was 5 minutes. And the
Turn down this amount that a OTT was giving you,
Yeah.
to do a stand-up special on your own.
So the logic from his end was I have this independent distribution. I want to look at me putting out content as marketing for live tours. So at the time, the platform had about 900,000 people on it. So his idea was I want 20-30 million people to see this, and it'll feed into other verticals of distribution. Uh, Having said that, around the same time I had done Bussey's deal with Amazon Prime, and he came from a slightly more dual strategy of I want to do the special. It's sort of a tick mark. The money was very sizable, so that played a factor as well. And he kind of had a little more of a dual strategy.
And who owns the content? Like once you give it to does the OTT platform owns the content fully?
Yeah, that's the big deciding factor. You lose your IP.
Oh, yeah. You can't even perform that.
No.
So the two ways to see it. One is think of it like investing in a business. So if you put the money to make the show, they are just licensing it. So it would be like a rental or like a license. So let's say Kenny put 60 lakhs together to make a show and it gets licensed to a platform. It would be for a certain duration of time. However, if they invest the money to make the show, they own it in perpetuity.
But this for Kenny, you and Akash, कितने पैसे लगते हैं स्टैंड अप को बनाने के लिए? मतलब एक स्पेशल को बनाने में if he's saying 200-300 shows, do you put some money on your own? Like if I want to be a comic today, if I see, okay, I'm funny, I have a couple of million views on YouTube, and if I decide today I want to make a
Couple of million? Oh, damn. Okay. So it's like a chicken and the egg question. It's kind of like when you see a comedian performing and he's recorded this set. So there are people in the audience. That means people got tickets to watch this comedian. That means they're already doing okay.
Got it.
So like the first issue is how do you have a career where you can fill 100, 200 people in a room and that you record and that hopefully that show goes well. It's all connected. I think we have, I think retroactively kind of streamlined the process. Before we used to like, okay, now let's build a show. We open mic for 6 months, then do the same jokes 200 times, 300 times, get the show ready, announce the tour. The tour is doing well in the metros, then announce tier 2. Then the show's done, and then we're like, oh, now there's a possibility of selling the show. But once you sell the show, you can't tour with it. So you very systematically be like, okay, I think it's run its course. It's the right time to release it. Then you self-produce it if you're going to do it for YouTube. You get a production team and you choose that, okay, I think the show's doing really well in Bangalore. I want to shoot it in Bangalore. Show doing really well in Delhi. I want to do it in Delhi. And then, yeah, you spend a lot of money. Like I think the minimum cheapest cost of like 7 cameras and PCR and sound and it would be minimum 20 to 30 lakhs.
Got it.
Yeah.
Super.
I just had a question. Like you're saying special, YouTube special. Are you talking about YouTube videos or like a proper special? Because
Proper special, because when we see a quote unquote special, we see a large auditorium. Generally, it's done like really well, right? And as an audience, I think when I see a special, it's produced also better than a usual like a canvas laugh club video.
बट फॉर समवन हु स्टार्टिंग आउट वो कभी भी स्पेशल शूट करने का एम नहीं करते हैं. पहले एक छोटा वीडियो डालना होता है कॉमिक को, 3 वीडियोस डालने होते हैं. मतलब आई डोंट नो अभी तक किसी ने किया है कि नहीं कि उसने कॉमेडी स्टार्ट किया और सीधा ही स्पेशल डाल दिया.
Correct.
सो फर्स्ट यू शूट नॉर्मल लाइक 10 मिनट्स, 15 मिनट्स, 18 मिनट्स, 5 मिनट्स वीडियोस. फिर वो 2-3 वीडियोस जब थोड़ा चलता है देन यू स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग योर शो एंड देन यू एक्चुअली रिलीज 1 घंटे. बिकॉज अगर आपने 1 घंटे का शो बनाया और आपने वो रिलीज कर दिया देन यू हैव नथिंग.
तो मैंने वो किया था
हैं?
when I was 21, Journey to the Center of My Brain.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yes, 1 hour.
हाँ,
And
उसमें वो एक
तो-
लंबे लंबे बाल, पैंट कोट।
मैंने 100 टिकट बेचे थे, 20 people showed up क्योंकि उस दिन बारिश हो रहा था.
Oh,
That's full savings I put on that. And
That-
I released it, it got 50,000 views. And Biswa came and said, bro, nobody watched your sweatshirt. Yeah, this is before, obviously, when I had my viral thing. So it is, I learned,
next day, मतलब what did you do? मतलब?
started from zero.
Wow,
Yeah. He's Biswa's a little mean sometimes.
Got it. How many of you have seen the Kapil Sharma show? Maybe your parents. Okay. Wow, it's a. All of us have seen, right? Like I really wonder, right? Which is post that there hasn't been a property which is loved or at least liked by all age groups. Somehow nothing in comedy, or at least I don't know of, that has connected like everyone. Like, what is that show which you think, or what is that type of property which will come and connect the entire family, or do you think that's not possible? Or in general, क्या next क्या अब comedy है? मतलब क्या एक property या show बनेगा which will be loved by everyone?
Yeah, I think this question was asked in the US, like, what is the next late night show? And they tried that with, I think, Lily Singh. Like, they had got a YouTuber, they did late night from, and it didn't work. And I think the answer was that the answer is not another late night show. The answer is podcasting. It's the new format itself is the answer. So I think Kapil Sharma is a show that's very successful, but also it's available on television, and people are not going and looking for it. You switch on your TV, it's there on your. But the future of, I think, comedy at least is specificity. Like, people are like, I'm from this part of India, I want this type of jokes, and those type of jokes are very satisfying. So I think that's the future where everybody gets their own Kapil Sharma show.
Format wise, जैसे like I really like what Gaurav Kapoor does with his vlogs. Very very genuine, बहुत अच्छा लगता है देख के. तो format wise कैसे experiment कर रहे हैं आजकल comedians?
बहुत कम कर रहे हैं ऑनेस्टली. सारे लोग एक तो कॉमेडियंस आलसी बहुत होते हैं.
क्या?
हाँ, मोस्ट ऑफ द कॉमेडियंस आर वेरी लेजी. मतलब चले ये करेंगे, ये चल गया, ठीक है. तो मतलब इतना सोचते नहीं है कि स्टैंड अप के अलावा भी कुछ और करें, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों का स्टैंड अप भी अच्छा नहीं हो पा रहा है. तो मतलब जो फैक्ट है तो फैक्ट है, ठीक है. तो दे आर जस्ट लाइक कि पहले मेरा ये ठीक हो जाए, फिर मैं किसी और चीज़ पे काम करूँगा, ठीक है. और जो दूसरे पे काम कर रहे थे तो लोग उनको डिस करते, तेरा वो तो हो नहीं रहा, तू ये क्यों कर रहा है. तो इट्स वेरी मतलब चैलेंजिंग. एंड प्लस लॉट ऑफ कॉमेडियंस दे जस्ट लाइक डूइंग स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी. They don't like making sketches, web series, writing. Like some people don't like it. तो इसलिए वो फॉर्मेट वाइज, जैसे गौरव कपूर की आप बात कर रहे हो, उसके चुल है. हाँ, कपूर के चुल है कि उसने लॉकडाउन में व्लॉग शुरू किया, फिर अब उसने व्लॉग कम कर दिया, वो रील्स डालता रहता है. अब वो एकदम जो भी चीज़ आई होती है उसके ऊपर उसी टाइम कंटेंट बना के सोच लेता है. तो अब वो पर्सनैलिटी ट्रेट है कि इट्स नॉट लाइक कि वो कर रहा है तो सब कर रहे हैं, या वो क्यों कर रहा है, उसकी मर्जी है, उसको कर रहे हैं. वैसे वाला चीज़. जैसे मेरे साथ पर्सनली ये होता है कि मैं बहुत टाइम जब सिर्फ स्टैंड अप कर लूँ तो मैं बहुत ऐसे ऐसे मेंटली ऐसे स्टक हो जाता हूँ, बोर हो जाता हूँ. तो आई टेक अ ब्रेक एंड देन आई, जैसे लास्ट ईयर आई वर्कड ऑन अ वेब सीरीज, तो आई वर्कड एज एन एक्टर. तो उसमें वो मैंने 1 महीना सिर्फ उस शो को दिया. तो आई वाज नॉट डूइंग स्टैंड अप दैट टाइम. वो मिनी टीवी पे आई थी. उससे पहले आई यूज्ड टू मेक स्केचेस मेंस एक्सपी के लिए अपने यूट्यूब चैनल के लिए. दिस इज लाइक 4-5 ईयर्स बैक. तो तब मैं ऐसे स्टैंड अप से थोड़ा थोड़ा ब्रेक लेके इस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट्स करता था, और फिर वापस आई यूज्ड टू कम बैक टू स्टैंड अप.
Did Bassi being in a Bollywood movie start like a trend in more stand-ups coming in?
Well, to be fair, Kanan started that trend. I just want to say, my good friend. But to be fair, I think even I think Akash and I feel very like privileged and lucky that we can just experiment and be creative people. So we're like, hey, why shouldn't we try acting? I also run a show I wrote and acted in called, on Amazon, and it is a 7-part series, and it was so grueling. I was like, okay, I don't think this is for me. Like, it's so grueling. You have no creative control. I also did music, and I was just like, why not? Why shouldn't you, as a creative person, try so many creative things? But when you go into a already established system,
Yeah.
like Bollywood or film industry, you realize like, oh my God, this is not a collaborative process at all. Like, nobody wants to hear what you think can make the project better. They're like, just do your job and
Unless they have made the thing around you, like
हाँ, fair.
unless they have called you कि ये आइडिया हमने आपके अराउंड सोचा है एंड इसके लिए वी वांट यू. तो देन यू कैन स्टिल से एंड मतलब आपकी बातें सुनी जाएंगी, बट आपको एक एग्जिस्टिंग सेटअप में अगर डाल दिया जा रहा है तो ये जस्ट वन पार्ट ऑफ द सेटअप.
Then you have to be a good actor. Like it's
Yeah.
interesting. Warren, just to
I think to address the Kapil Sharma thing in a slightly more elaborate way. So if you just watch patterns in the West, right? There was a time that Johnny Carson would do this thing called the Tonight Show. 40 million people would tune in. All comedy was that. So if you went and you did 5 minutes on that show and you killed, you would sell out clubs for the next 2-3 years. Where I think the topic of today's discussion can weave in is post the internet, that has gone completely. So there was a time, at least in the West, where being the host of the Tonight Show was like the holy grail. There used to be these wars, these guys who get paid 25, $30 million a year, not in a long-term contract. So it was a huge deal. Today that has gone completely. So what has happened with the internet is there's a dude named Tim Dillon, for example, who has a podcast that's big enough to where like presidents or Joe Rogan is the pioneer of podcasting. It's gotten so big, Joe Rogan's podcast, that if you took all American news media and combined it, it wouldn't reach half his following. So in terms of, to answer your question, are you asking specifically what is a viewing pattern generally, or is it for comedy specifically?
I think in comedy next format kya banega? Because I mean we've seen one or two which but what else?
I think Ken mentioned something interesting, which is I think, and this could be this is just a guess. I think the future will be people will build their own distribution, and a certain audience who likes that type of humor will stay with them. So it will be a little bit more direct. I use this as an example in one of our earlier chats. Ravi Gupta does this thing where he plays this weird undercover agent that does reels. If you sat with any executive and you told them this will work and get many views, they would kick you out of the room immediately.
How many of you have seen Ravi Gupta?
This is Ravi stuff, yeah.
Is it true that I've heard that he doesn't break character even in real life?
There is no character, dude. That's him.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's him only.
Yeah.
But Warren, on the like since you manage money and you do the money conversations,
Yeah.
what is the most amount of money you've seen a stand-up make in a year?
Yeah.
You can, if you want, you can take names. We can cut recording and just this can stay in the room.
No, I plead the fifth. This I cannot answer.
Without
Suddenly became a finance podcast, dude. What happened?
But like without taking in names, what is the most that you've seen a stand-up make? I think none of us know what is the glass ceiling in this business. We want to understand that this is also possible.
मेहनत से कमा रहे हैं. Why are you putting nazar on this?
Akash, you want to take this one?
I didn't get that deal. So why should I take this?
I mean, it's a lot. It depends. I think you could, if you're at a level where you're selling out theaters, between your live business and your content business with a bit of OTT on the side, you could make anywhere between 25 and 30 CR a year. If you're doing a bunch of stuff on
क्या
that.
बात कर रहे हैं यार, ये तो हमें भी नहीं पता था यार. ये प्लीज टेल द नेम. 25 करोड़ कौन बना रहा है एक साल में यार, हैं?
No, so just to use, he's being modest, by the way.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Just find out what he drove here at, guys. I'll leave it at that. I only joke.
I asked a very, in a confidential way. Now he's the one revealing all.
No. But generally speaking, like,
एक सेकेंड. I just on a serious note, I don't think you can make that much money if you're not getting a special deal in that.
I meant with everything.
Yeah. So if
Without-
big special deal, then you're touring for like 8 months of the year.
Yeah.
Then you're getting brand work.
It's about half that. If you are not interacting with OTT.
Basically, you're killing yourself with work to earn that money.
Yeah.
And let's say I make this one of my peak years, I make 25, 30 crores. How do I maximize this career? Because I'm sure this is a peak, right? Like the person would also have their own ups and downs. I'm sure it's not the same every year.
So I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I personally think that mindset is a time, in the time of, for example, you were on TV where there was limited distribution. Then it's just some executive at some company being like, yeah, I don't like this anymore. And your career is struggle. But if you have millions of followers and you control your own distribution, the only reason an audience wouldn't like you is if you didn't grow with them. So for example, if your jokes are about a certain time in your life and you keep doing them and your audience has grown up and like, that's just not my thing anymore. However, if you get better and denser and faster as a comedian and kind of sense the pulse of the people who like you already, you can do this till you're... Dude, there's a comedian named Don Rickles who's doing it in his 90s. I think he almost passed on. Like, I don't think... I think it's a lot easier for this career to be one of 30, 40 years, or as long as a comic wants to do it. They have to keep staying funny. But I don't... There are way fewer gatekeepers than, for example, the world that I sort of was open micing in, where somebody needed to come tap you saying you get a spot or whatever.
Got it.
India specifically, there are people who've gone from one viral YouTube video to like a fully different life in a week. That does not happen in the West at all. So, meaning it does now. I think they've almost, in a strange way, they piggyback the model that worked here. There's a dude there named Andrew Schultz who's doing these massive arenas. He's not doing it because some Netflix executive came and told him, hey, you're the chosen one. In fact, he was rejected. He just put out videos on YouTube and did it exactly like the gentleman on the stage. And they've kind of... So that's kind of what I meant by the model changing.
Yeah.
I think the independent model of building big distribution is the future. Now, if a OTT platform comes and pays to reach the audience in a manner that makes sense, I don't think anybody on this stage or other clients I work with will have any problem working with.
So I can summarize that creating content is critical because that allows you to create your own distribution, right? Because that's what you're saying. अगर आपके पास अपनी distribution ही नहीं है, then somebody else can take the decision on your behalf for your career.
I think the frustrating thing is where I've had clients who are well suited for something, really suited for them for this specific project, and I've been unable to sell them into projects because their distribution isn't enough. So I do agree with you that distribution is a factor, but in terms of longevity of the career, there are... I hate to bring it back to the first question, but there are so many people with millions of followers who don't make a living. Many.
Yeah, I mean,
There-
the
a
elephant
lot
in the room is you have to make good content.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's understood, but like the opposite problem was happening when all of us were finding success online. A lot of my colleagues in the were just waiting, like, mera kab hone wala hai?" and it was extremely humbling to know we got very lucky. At the same time, your work has to be worth going viral and being good. So ironically, if you just focus on just the craft, genuinely, I hate to break it to you, but if you're just a good comedian, your content coincidentally does well and your career will do fine. It's just that simple. Yeah.
Can you have a huge round of applause for